brothers and sisters. King Loki in the house, and I'm about to bandersnatch your mind. From what I discovered, and I just decoded something, time travel is actually very real, and I'm going to explain it. Now let's take a deep breath in together. Hold. Release. So, let's go into the Mandela effect. So, I was really into the Mandela effect about 4 years ago when it started coming out, and I actually listened to something that said the Mandela effect will make more sense in 2020. Now, this was based off of CERN. What I'm about to explain to you is pretty amazing, to say the least. So, let me start it like this. The Mandela effect. If you don't know what the Mandela effect, well, it started because Nelson Mandela and, well, basically, things have changed. Okay? Now, how do I mean things have changed? And why is it that, if you don't, okay, let me explain the Mandela effect for those who don't know what the Mandela effect is. So, for example, in movies, people will remember one thing in movies, and then some people will remember another thing in movies. Like, for example, like, Luke, I'm your father, or something, or Luke, I don't know, silly, weird things, okay? Now, let's go to the Mona Lisa. Shout out to the missing link, Lil Wayne. He goes, fake smile, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. Now, one of the biggest Mandela effects that I've noticed, and which actually really creeped me out, was the one where you see, excuse me, you see Mona Lisa now smiling. Well, I know what happened, and I'm here to explain what happened. So, let's start with the John F. Kennedy assassination. Now, a lot of people remember, as do I, a 3-seater car, correct? I want to know down in the comments below, what do you remember? Because I'm going to explain here shortly what happened. And yes, time travel is real. So, I remember a 3-seater convertible. Now there's a 2-seater convertible. Now, the CIA, I'm not going to get into what the CIA does, because shout out to the CIA. Family, if you don't know what time it is, believe in yourself. I appreciate the CIA very much. As for the Mandela effect, so get this. Hitler. His eyes were blue, right? No, his eyes were not blue. His eyes were actually brown. So, one of two things. Google is rewriting history, which could be a possibility, and yes, they probably are rewriting some things in history. Does that matter? Yeah, it matters, but that's not what I'm getting at. So, think about this for a second. What if, because a lot of people with the Mandela effect, people remember, for example, things in movies said one way, and then some people remember it the other way. Now get this. What if CERN crossed timelines? Meaning, what if your brother, your mother, an old friend of yours basically had a different, is completely different because they're from a different timeline? Catching my drift? You understand what I'm saying? A different timeline. Now, another thing. Man, this is mind-blowing to me. So, in movies, they reveal a lot of truth, right? This shit, it's just mind blowing to me. So the movie Groundhog Day. I'm gonna illustrate something for you, and I'm gonna show you how. First of all, time is not linear unless you allow it to be linear. So there's a quote, and how'd the quote go? Oh, most people chase the clock, but don't own the clock. Again, let me state that again. Most people chase the clock, but don't own the clock. By owning the clock, and this is my perspective, you own the clock by not letting time instruct your life, not letting time rule over your life. That's what I was trying to say. So, here's the kicker. If time is straight as an arrow, which it's not, well, then there would be no different timelines. And that's the reason why it's linear. Now, I kind of forgot too much about a lot of the stuff I was going to say, but I'm going to illustrate something for you that is going to really hopefully make you think, and is going to hopefully make you want to get out of your timeline, because you're stuck in a loop. A lot of people right now are now stuck in this perpetual loop, and there's no getting out unless you allow yourself out. Now, this loop is a dangerous loop. So in Groundhog Day, what does he do? The same thing over and over again, but he can't get out of this perpetual loop, this perpetual cycle, which is unfortunate. Now, let me show you something. I need to illustrate this for you, because when I figured this out, it blew my mind, to say the least, okay? To say the very least. I'm just looking for my pen that I had right next to me. Here it is. Found the pen, okay? Now, when you draw your timeline, basically, okay, let me illustrate this again. From when you were born, okay? You're going to probably draw out something like this, look. You're going to make a straight arrow, say, the day you were born. Let's just put B day, right? And then from there, you're going to go ahead and put what happened to you since then. But no, that's not the way it works. So I was in rehab one year, and there's this really brilliant individual. He was fairly smart, but he was also a little out there, which actually probably made him that much smarter. And he did his timeline when we did our timelines, and I did my timeline straight as an arrow, but he did his timeline like this. And it went outwards. Okay? So this is where his B day started. And then it went outwards. Because he knew that time's not linear. Now, you're stuck in a hamster loop right now, okay? Let me explain. See this dot right here?
Am I allowed to ask a question, James?
This is your town. This dot represents your town. Okay? Your town. Now, watch this, okay? Watch and learn. Time travel is real. They have figured it out. A lot of people, they don't get out of their comfort zone, so what do? They stay in one spot. And this is how they're trapping you with the COVID-19 in a linear timeline. Yeah, man, it's bad. So, ooh. And guess what? Something about this book that I've never told anybody. When I first found this book, by the way, I'm going to show this book, and if there's anybody out there that recognizes it to be theirs, please let me know. I'm gonna show you some things afterwards in this book. This book is amazing, but I've added on to it. Okay, so your town. So you're stuck in a loop right now. If you're here in your town or in your, let's say your let's go as far as your county, okay? You're stuck in a perpetual loop. Okay? So, this is where I live. Florida. Okay? Now, across the United States is California. Hold on. Let me get this straight. Hold on. Just gonna put a star representing California. Or a scribble if I can. Whoops, it's the wrong way. See? Look. Florida. CA, okay? Now, I was stuck in a perpetual loop. And you are too right now if you're not traveling. So, I took a route out of my state, and this is just me illustrating it for you. Right? And I went up to Georgia. And I went this way. So I'm getting out of the linear timeline. So my timeline was here for quite a while, right? So I go this way, right? But I'm almost out of my linear time zone. That's why they say time zones. So once you reach the tip of Florida, which is about here, so I should have made this smaller, is when I basically left my time zone. You see? Time travel. So I traveled, and on November 3rd of last year, that was the day I left. Ironically, nothing is by mistake, it's all by design. So get this. The clocks changed that day. So when I got into, so it was actually November 4th, because it was the next day when I got into a new time zone. So I was 2 hours, so what do they say? Fall back, spring forward. So I fell back 2 hours instead of 1 hour, okay? So I'm right here in Pensacola on a new timeline. This is how you jump timelines, right? Now, let's go to the next page. Okay. And we're going to California, right? So I make my stops, and I make it to the next time zone, which starts in, I think it starts in Texas to be exact, but I'm not sure. So I'm in now a new time zone, a new timeline, right? That timeline goes as far as your time zone. This is just actually coming to me right now. I don't know why. I'm just being channeled energy. So then I go and I make it to another one. That's right. One more. I'm in a new timeline. And then I make it to California. To Santa Monica. And now I'm in a new timeline. Alright, check it. So we got 1, 2, 3 timelines. But really, I jumped timelines because the clocks went back, they fell back. So 1, 2, 3. Check this out, right? 4 timelines. 4 timelines. This is where the timeline I was at. Stuck in a linear loop, because if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you're fucked. Literally, you're screwed. You're in a hamster wheel. So I make it to California, CA, and I love California, by the way. Shout out to everybody in California that's seeing this, and shout out to my dog Solomon. Solomon, what's happening, my brother? So anyways, I'm in a new timeline in California. 3 hours behind. But you have to understand, yes, time is an illusion. Now, how do they time travel is the question. Well, I just showed you a way of time traveling. That is one way to time travel. But is there a way to go back in time? Now, now let me tell you the paradox, okay? They call it the grandfather paradox. So, if you were to go back in time and murder your grandfather, would you still be alive? I want to know down in the comments below, do you believe that you will? My answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Because you can't go back in time and erase yourself. But you could go back in time and kill your grandfather. But that wouldn't matter because you're already alive. Understand what I'm saying? You can jump timelines. Yes, time travel is very possible. The time travel you're thinking of is also very possible. I just don't have a way of explaining that one quite yet. So, I made it to California, right? And was I stuck in a loop? No, because I was not there for too long. So then I flew, let's see, 1, 2, 3 timelines over to Virginia, okay? I'm going to illustrate this some more. So, Virginia. VA. So I'm in that timeline for Christmas, right? Go down to Florida. I'm in that timeline on Christmas Day. Okay? Now I fly back here to LAX. Back to this timeline, okay? Where my car was. My car was in a different timeline. And I want to see NorCal. So what do? Make a phone call. Shout out to Marcus. And shout out to AB. Thank you, AB, for everything, man. So I go 6 hours to NorCal, Oakley, California. Actually, it was AKA Antioch, which is also another city very similar to Jupiter, very underground, very mysterious. As a matter of fact, these are the towns that have access to the underground bases that go to the inner earth, as a matter of fact. So, I'm at this timeline for a month. This timeline right here changed my life. When I say changed my life, this specific one changed my life forever. So I got a little homesick. COVID-19 hit. Fly back home, back to this timeline. Well, my car's still over on this timeline. So I fly back over here to this timeline right when COVID-19 hits, right? So I drive back down to LA. I say my goodbyes in LA. And I drive back to Florida. Let's go back to the Florida timeline. So, my town, Jupiter. When you are in a timeline for so long, you're stuck in a perpetual loop. I'm back. Shout out to the movie Groundhog Day. Now, Groundhog Day is a little different. But when you're waking up and you're doing the same shit over and over, that's why my mentor says the death of all potential. No, the death of all potential is stop, knock it off. The death of all potential is routine. So break your routines now, otherwise you're gonna be stuck in a hamster wheel. That's how you can jump timelines. Plain and simple, simply said. Yeah, it's pretty complicated, but there's way more to it, and I figured out actually how you can actually time travel is real. It's very real. I cannot believe it's very exciting, actually, to say the least. But brothers and sisters, with that said, I hope I did a good illustration on time travel and how you can actually time travel. With that said, if you have not subscribed to my videos, I'd very much appreciate it if you subscribed right now. And also, I want to give my thanks and praises to God right now. My thanks and praises to my mentor. And ultimately, My thanks and praises to the universe that allows me to travel through timelines. Brothers and sisters, there you have it. Jumping timelines. You stay in one place for too long, you get stuck in one timeline, so you can't leave. It's a perpetual cycle. Welcome to Groundhog Day. I didn't say Groundhog's Day, I said Groundhog Day.